her. I want to have it all covered the way Shirley does. So anyway, she's written a dozen books, and she didn't know what to write, and she was sitting there with her publisher talking about what she should write, and he said, why don't you write about this lesson session? She said, I'm over that. And he said, why don't you write about I'm over that? And so he said, I think we have a theme. I'm over that. And so the book is called I'm Over All That. It's all the things that she has had enough of. So it's, since I know that since we're Jews, we're all in a perpetual state of fed up. You learn early when you're Jewish, you might as well. They hate us, and then they're not going to help us, and you have to take care of yourself. So, and the other one, which is all the holidays are the same three things. They tried to kill us, they lost, let's see. Those are the only Jewish maxims you need to know. But Shirley's now down to writing about and making up shit about dead people. Well, first of all, there are no dead people in her world. If she wants to correct something, she just goes into a room and calls Dean Martin on some phone she had. And she does a fact check, so you can't really dispute anything Shirley said. So this is just a little section about Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Now, if you're too young to remember Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis, fuck you. Dean and Jerry were a lesson in how not to break up. I did their second to last picture with them. By that time, they couldn't stand each other. Dean was really the spontaneous, funny one. Jerry was more of a scientist of comedy who wanted to be a director. I was caught in the middle, as were the rest of the cast and crew. Many times the producer, Hal Wallace, who was worse than anyone, also dead, had to come to this is not about, Shelley Winters wrote a book about everybody she slept with, and there was nobody alive. Because who would admit to sleeping with Shelley Winters? So everybody was dead. It was the book I said should be called Fuck Shelley and Die. But this is Shirley, not Shelley. Many times Hal Wallace had to come to the set and insist that time was money and the two of them should get on with it. Dean's soft-spoken personality made it hard to tell when he was really upset. I never saw him angry or anything like that. He was just trying to get through each day. Jerry basically took over, and when the next picture in their contract came around, Dean simply walked. I had the same agent as both of them, so I heard the details of the breakup. There was a script meeting with the two of them, and the writer to sketch out a comedy scene involving some sort of police chase. Jerry controlled the meeting and said he wanted to flip it and have them chase the police. And Dean said, oh, that would never happen. In my experience, the only time I've ever seen the police is in my rearview mirror. Jerry said, your character wouldn't act that way. And Dean said, well, then get somebody who will. And he walked out. They didn't speak for 20 years until a charity event occurred, and the same agent put them together again. Having them together again that evening was wonderful. I worked with Dean alone after that, all in a night's work. I developed a crush on him, but thank goodness his wife was always around. I was over the crush by the time we made Some Came Running together. By then I was more interested in who the mobsters were who always seemed to be around him. Sam Giancana taught me how to play gin rummy. Sam Giancana was known as Momo. He ran the Chicago branch of the big mob family. And he's credited with killing everybody. Anyone named Kennedy, he had killed. Marilyn Monroe, she's dust. And he went with one of the McGuire sisters. He went with Phyllis McGuire. And Phyllis McGuire still lives in Vegas, and if you go out with her and get drunk, she'll tell you, let me tell you what happened in Maryland. Don't tell me something. Keep it to yourself. Sam Giancana taught me how to play gin rummy. He won by reading my cards in his glasses. I pulled a toy gun on him once because he took my cannoli. He went for a .45 and pointed it at me, and Dean and Frank walked into the room. They fell down laughing. That's when I didn't. That's when I realized who this guy was. Dean and Frank were made for each other, and many, many women besides. I was not one of them, but I miss them both more than I want to think about. Hollywood will never see the likes of them again. They were the real deal. By the way, it was Dean who really knew all the mob guys and told them to go away. Frank was what they called a wannabe. I was a mascot they protected. I was never quite sure from whom.